Oh, there you go. You live now. Hey,
What?
you live.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with us. We had a few technical difficulties, and I was a few minutes late this morning. Please bear with us as we share this out to the groups and everybody. Give us 1 second, please. Couple little seconds, and we'll be right with you. I promise. I promise. I promise. You all are so good and faithful, waiting for us. We'll be right with you. I promise. Giving us this time. We got Dr. Padroni coming on today at 10 o'clock with two special guests for his hour segment that he will be doing. At that time, I'm going to slip out and let him take over from 10 to 11. So got some other things going on. Also, while we are sharing, just to update you on the news and current events, there is a press conference today, which we will talk about in a second. We also have a, a council meeting, a special council meeting that has been called 15 minutes before the regular committee meeting is due to start. I think that's very interesting, to say the least. So I can't wait to see how that's going to turn out. But we will be there. A10 will be in the building tonight for the special council meeting called by Eva and Liddell. They call them a lot of meetings. If it's not a press conference, it's a special meeting. So we'll be there for that. I don't believe that they will ever get to the committee meetings tonight, but hey, prove me wrong. It is what it is. Um, Shout out to A10 News Media Group and the greatest producer in the world, Mickey Jordan. Say what's up to the good people, Mickey. You ain't gonna say hi to the people?
Yeah. Good morning, family.
He done had y'all waiting all this time, and then he ain't gonna come on here and say
I
hi to
was I
y'all.
was over here sharing, but you know,
You was sharing what? You was
Shirley,
sharing
you keep
nothing.
getting me in all these problems.
Man, the problems go away.
Don't they?
So yeah,
I
let
think
me,
I think some of them sabotaged the show this morning.
Mickey.
I think they've been doing some. There's been some good sabotaging going on. I'm just gonna say
As my granddaddy would say, when they stop talking about you,
that's when you know
it's when
shit
you
going.
get to worrying.
Yes, yes, yes.
So as long as they talking about you, I think we doing pretty good.
Oh, I know we're doing pretty good.
Um, First off, I do want to send out some condolences again to my good friend and sister Victoria Fair and her family, the whole Fair Miller Woods family, and the loss of her brother Billy. She will be burying him this Saturday. That's like all I do is go to funerals. And then last night I had to do one of the hardest things in the world. It's to this point yet. I had to everybody that personally know me know I'm not the strong one. But I had to be there with my best friend last night as she unplugged her husband from the ventilator. He was in a horrible car accident, and condolences to her family. So I was running late this morning. I was not feeling it at all. Still not feeling it, but the show must go on. Give y'all the best 30 minutes that I can. Before Clack and Padroni come on here, we'll push through this today. So, Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you some things to put up on the screen that we want to. Well, he's still sharing, so let's talk about yesterday. Let's talk about yesterday. Let's get into yesterday. Let's see, 70 people then jumped on here already.
What part of yesterday you want to talk about?
My life matters.
No, hold up. Let me clear something up.
I woke up and chose violence.
I see, but hold up. Let me say this. I was, I was a, because I sat down and talked to the brother yesterday.
Mickey always want to be the peacemaker.
Hey, sometimes you got to be the peacemaker. Because just remember, I'm Ernie.
I'm Big Bird.
So,
I'm Big Bird. Ain't that something? The Black Lives Matter
no, I'm not.
president called me Big Bird. I like my blonde. My
Hey,
blonde
listen
hair.
though, but it
He
was
called me Big Bird and called you Ernie.
this the one you want me to put up though first.
Yeah, let's talk
Hold on, I'm
about.
finna get that. Hold on,
Oh,
get this segment through real
oh,
quick because we
they
working
can't
with
see
us.
that yet.
No, they can't see
Okay,
it.
well,
Yeah,
good. Let's
they
get
can't
through
see
the
it. I
My
gotta get
Life
it.
Matters first.
Hold up.
Go say it. Go ahead.
And I did tell him I'm a man of my word. Is gonna get back to him. He said we jumped the gun, even though I still didn't agree with what was did. Man, it's personal. Man, I had a conversation. I told him, I said, I come on here. I said, I'm gonna give it the wait and see approach.
What you waiting to see, Mickey?
You know, they got the hold up.
Okay,
Me
hold
saying
on.
it's just from my
Keep going.
opinion. He got some things that they say they finna do.
Hey, Tyann. I love you, Tyann.
Uh,
Tyann, pray for
so I'm
Miranda.
just gonna see the waiting approach, but I do want to say this to them. When you make the news, we are the media. We gonna speak on it. So, I mean, if that's gonna have people mad at us, I guess we're not gonna have no friends because if it ain't right, we're gonna speak on it. And that's just what it is. That's how I'm looking at it. But I'm gonna get a waiting approach, see.
Mickey.
That's just me. I'm gonna
That's
get a waiting
Mickey's
approach.
opinion.
I'm gonna give it the waiting approach because because this is what I don't get, and this is just my opinion. Because people always tell you to call them, like you could have called me. You could have called me then. That go two ways. But
I
we don't
ain't
have
been
to.
calling
Yeah,
people.
we don't have to do that though.
But
You
you,
got to call me on what you do. I'm just saying, when stuff do go down, you can't get all caught up, and you know what I'm saying, and you be mad and going go reporting on it. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. It's just for future people.
Tyann, don't you make me start crying. I love you too.
We're gonna have to report on it. So I'm just giving it. Like I said, hey, we're gonna see how it's gonna go because if I'm understanding they getting like they don't want to get the wrong impression like they was with certain people.
Well, you know what, Mickey? Let me tell you this one.
That's just so I just didn't
Let
want
me
to clear
give you
that.
my
So I'm gonna
side.
get
I'm
a.
glad you cleared your side up.
Oh
But
yeah,
this is my side. I got a call from Dewan yesterday after he made the series of posts. I think the first one was dedicated to art about the activists or whatever he said, and then he made another one about our little podcast by Big Bird and Ernie. I could give that rat's ass about the names that people call me. I don't give a damn. But I answered this phone call yesterday when I was at the hospital with my best friend. I proceeded to tell him I'm only answering your phone call because I don't want you to think that I'm scared to answer your call, but I'm doing something right now. I'm with my family right now. And he went on, he proceeded to tell me the same things that I guess apparently he told Mickey. You could have called me. I did call you. Your ass ended up at a pizza shop in Saginaw. I did call you when I was having issues. You ain't show up. Um, he said that we didn't give him I broke his heart. We brothers and sisters, the sorority fraternity that we in, the Greek. And yeah, and that's why I feel like I could come down on you. Ain't that what family's supposed to do? When you do wrong, we call you out. But what I'm noticing in this game of media, and I'm gonna call it a game, because media plays a lot of games. Most the ones that ain't sold out, you got that side that play games. But what I'm noticing with ATN News Media Group, We talking about Dwan Robinson and Black Lives Matter. What I'm noticing about A10 News Media Group, everyone wants us to be um, non-biased. Keep it fair across the board. And you're doing a great job, and we love everything that you're doing until they hit the news. I'm here to report today that if you fuck up, you're gonna get talked about. So if you know that you done messed up, just don't watch the damn show the next day. Juan proceeds to tell me we didn't give him a fair chance. I broke his heart. I could have called him. I did call you, as I just stated. He got other things coming. They about to jump on this and they about to jump on this. Why? Where you been at? That's my whole thing, and I still stand by what I stand by yesterday. Now, Mickey may have a change of heart and give you the benefit of the doubt.
Wait a minute. Don't just go say it, Mickey. I just said I'm gonna sit back. Like I said, I want to see it.
We been sitting back and waiting. It's been a whole year. He ain't said nothing about the Mitchell boys, Zaire and Lamar over there dying over there, the Mitchell boys.
I want to see how they gonna do it here. Tell you what I said.
The fire chief got fired.
Yeah.
Because the firemen falsified the police report, and the fire chief allegedly wouldn't. This is allegedly, but it's a lawsuit going on. He wouldn't lie. I ain't see Lives Matter then. I ain't see Black Lives Matter when Liddell said that you was gonna slide across the paint when they couldn't paint the mural in the street. And he even had the girl on the show. We had the lady on the show. I had the lady on the show. So don't sit up here and tell me, oh, just wait and see. We about to hit all of that. We about to? Where we been? Don't get me started on him. That's all I got to say.
Well, I'm just going with the wait and see approach. Well, here go your first story.
Well, Woodrow, let me tell you why. Because that was my that was at that time that was my place of employment. So I thought I was doing what was right and was gonna pick her brain, and she was gonna come on there, come back after 30 years and whip them a new one. Didn't happen.
I got your thing up there. You going up there?
So moving along, basically Black Lives Matter says stay tuned because they about to just really give it to them in the city of Flint, and I'm just so excited. I can't wait. Anyway, what we got today? I can't see that up there.
You can't see that up there?
Hell no, you're gonna have to make the screen bigger so I can read it to the people.
Oh, you need to might walk up to that joker.
Well, hold on, let me put it on my okay, there you go. So today, at 2 o'clock on the third floor of Flint City Hall in the City Council chambers, there will be a press conference called by Tanya Burns, Councilwoman of the 6th Ward, and Dennis Pfeiffer, Councilman of the 8th Ward. And the reason is the City of Flint contract with Priority Waste, ARPA funds, and other general city business. So I guess this is the new way of doing things. We're going to call press conferences. So, Mickey, we're going to have to call us some press conferences.
But I think they had to after that debacle that was did the other day.
No, and see, that's where I disagree. I disagree. I feel like, you know, two wrongs don't make a right. And I'm not saying that Dennis and Tanya is wrong for throwing a press conference. That's what they want to do, throw one. But just because we don't have to do this every day. You know, somebody have a press conference, y'all ain't got to come back with another press conference. This one have a press conference, that one don't have to come back with a press conference. Get the damn business of the city done at the meetings. And we know that y'all not, Liddell and them sit up there and tell us about how they want to move the city forward. No, the hell you don't. Because if that was the case, committee meetings is for working up everything that's going to be sent to council. Y'all called a special council meeting. That's the next flyer you got up there, Mickey. They called a special council meeting 15 damn minutes. 15. Do y'all hear me? 15 minutes before the committee meetings was supposed to start today. Now, anybody in the world that's been following Flincy, that ain't it. Anybody in the world that's been following Flint, no, here we go right there. That's been following Flint, know damn well that they ain't about to finish nothing in 15 minutes. They can't even get through the blessing in 15 minutes or the pledge of allegiance to the flag in 15 minutes. It just ain't gonna happen. So that right there, they trying to, I don't know why. And I'm imploring, I'm begging everybody, since they want the what did she say the other day? The rescue the residents or something about the residents. And I seen something posted by Uncle AC this morning. Everybody need to show up down there at City Hall today. This shit needs to stop. They need to move on. Let me read this first. Let me read this first. So today, 15 minutes before council meeting start, this is what Liddell and what's the girl name? Eva want to talk about. They want to talk about, and let me read it for you because I can't see it. Hold on just a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, so today their special council meeting at 4:45 p.m. Wednesday in the city council chambers. Remember, committee meetings start at 5. Number 1, a special order to discuss the state of Michigan, the Department of Treasury's proposal to administer income tax collection for the city of Flint with representatives from the Treasury Department. What that mean? What they about to go up on the taxes? They want to come let the people know how nice it's gonna be? I'm not for sure. Number 2, to consider the following resolutions. Resolutions to allocate opioid settlement funds from the state of Michigan in an amount of $50,000. Here we go again to donations of love. Resolution awarding ARPA funds to the Neighborhood Engagement Hub to serve as a fiduciary for Mott Park Neighborhood Association in responding to the impacts of the pandemic on blight. Now, see, they keep talking about Mott Park and blight, but when they get up there, they talk about building a bike trail. The next one, resolution to proceed with ARPA funds. Notice everything is ARPA funds for increased food access. Ashbury Community Development. The next one is the same thing for increased food access. Fire L. Jones. I don't know what happened to Bethel. Resolution to allocate opioid settlement funds from the state of Michigan for $200,000 for Insight. They opened up a hallway and they're gonna have a med psych healthcare services and hospital. Resolution awarding more ARPA funds to assist the Good Church. Oh, that's Quincy. Quincy was always hollering about the Good Church, but I thought he said the Good Church didn't have time to apply.
It's on there now.
Yep, the Good Church is on here now to assist the Good Church in responding to impacts of pandemic on blight in Ward 3. Resident, they do clean up Holbrook Street every year, but it's not an M day. That's one street. Resolution to proceed with ARPA funds gap financing for residential and mixed use projects for Catholic Charities Sacred Heart Village project. They didn't put down how much money. Resolution to proceed with ARPA funds to improve parks. In the wintertime, I guess we're gonna have ice skating rinks or something. I don't know. Resolution to approve the lease for Cloud Road. This is where I got an issue at. They just failed that damn. They just failed it. They just failed this resolution for that little Huntington Bank building last week. I thought you were supposed to wait 30 days before you can bring it back up again.
I gotta agree with Woodrow Green on this in his comment. He said adding Good Church got them Quincy's vote.
On the rest, absolutely. We know that, absolutely. Thank you, Woodrow, because they seeing this. And so, but what happened to the 30 days? You gotta wait 30 days before you can bring a resolution back up. When it's killed, I thought you had to wait. But here it goes again.
Go ahead.
And then the last one is for this waste services for priority waste. This is what I don't understand, and I need the people to help me. They said we got to have the monies allocated by December, but they don't have to be spent until next December. And the trash contract is not up until the end of November, even though I know we can't wait until the last minute. They really trying hard to push this contract down our throats. into the year 2033, trying to blindside us with these new beautiful trash cans and recycle bins. If y'all don't have nothing else to do today, you need to come to council meeting today at 4:45. Don't just watch the snippets that 7 and 12 is going to put out about the people looking good. You need to come see how these folks act the whole meeting. Cause I'm gonna let you know, it ain't the ones always acting up that you think it is. I'm just gonna put that out there right now.
Oh, well, Eunice Jackson just made a good. She said, "Remember that very productive meeting Quincy just had with the mayor." So of course,
Oh, that's right. He did have a picture where he took his relative down there to meet the mayor.
it's a losing
Oh,
environment.
really? The money just gotta be allocated by December 2024 and spent by December 2026. Well, what the hell is they rushing for? Maybe he think he gonna get recalled, so he trying to get all the money spent to
I
his
mean,
people.
it's kind of a bad week for him. You got to think the recordings. Then, so you got to look at everything. It's just like the whole thing, everything look kind of messy right now because you got the recordings with him on there talking to Mr. Carpenter, who you did an interview with, that got dropped.
Right.
So you looking at, and
About
then he's been,
them golf
yeah,
courses.
and he getting sued.
Well, the good thing about it,
Go ahead.
it's Black Lives Matter said stay tuned, so maybe they're gonna be there today to protest. You think so?
I mean, we're gonna see.
I mean, Dewan, I'm not getting up off your ass. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough to keep me off of your ass, brother. So either shit or get off the pot. We need some help around here. And let me tell you why I made such a harsh statement. You can call me again. Call me Big Bird, Ernie. I don't give a damn what you call me. Let me read this. This was put out by AC Dumas. AC, I had to ask somebody to send it to me because I'm still
Good
blocked.
morning, Miss Beverly. I see you woke up with pure hell this
I
morning.
woke up with I didn't wake up with hell. I just woke up with a lot on my mind, and life is too short to be playing games around here. And I feel like that's all that people in the city of Flint is doing, is playing damn games with each other over money. And let me tell you, I felt every piece of this finally. Me and AC agree on something. He said, for your information, council member phone numbers are below. A special Flint City Council meeting is today at 4:45 p.m. It's imperative that all, and he put it in caps, all Flint residents, especially taxpayers, come. More money grabbing agencies, not all, are demanding ARPA funds of the money that is meant to benefit Flint residents. Now, listen to this part. This what caught my eye. Not on the agenda. I repeat, not on the agenda are roofs, windows, porches, furnaces, water heaters, the stuff that we need in our homes. Those are eligible expenses for the people. And then he lists for all of the council members' phone numbers and even the mayor's. He said those who stay will pay. The late community activist Chris Del Moroni, that's what he used to say. So find somebody, bring somebody today, 4:45. It should be no reason that council chambers, it should be a line all the way outside the door for people to come and speak. When is it going to ever be about the residents of the city of Flint? I'm tired of hearing about parks. I'm tired of hearing about donations of love. I'm tired of hearing about the Kennedy Center cleaners. I'm tired of hearing about this money going everywhere than where it's supposed to go to. Then Mickey, put that last flyer up there that I just seen this morning. Now at the same time, this is what we talk about gentrification and people doing other things. right
Amen.
out from underneath, right the rug to just pull it right out from underneath us. They having an open house. Now I don't know if this is affordable housing or not. My guess is no. This was that house I've been talking about on Mackin Road. The land bank is, you're invited to celebrate our mid-century modern historic home renovation and meet our skilled construction crew. The celebration will be held as an open house on Wednesday, November the 8th from 5 to 7 on Mackin Road. Your attendance will make this celebration complete. Now they selling houses over here on the west side of town, and then downtown they trying to raise our taxes. What gives? The phone lines is open. Only got a few more minutes. 810 Please call in and let me know what y'all think. Also, I was running through Facebook this morning before I got here. Ashley Capital, they still here, y'all. They having a project update and subcontractor outreach on Friday the 17th at 1 p.m. Join us to learn more about the Flint Commerce Center, formerly Buick City Development, and information about our local subcontractor opportunity. That's for the black folks, I guess, because they've been hollering about where's the black
Well,
contractors.
that's what they've been hollering. What maybe
Yeah.
they need to
And that's going to be held at Mott Community College.
Ashley Capital. This is the God is not being seen. If you want to do business, then I say I'm open for business. Maybe a little advertisement, but I ain't going. I got to get more than lawnmower
Well,
1,500.
like I've always
I'm
said,
saying
Mickey,
just help.
the people with the votes, if it got cheaper each time, they
I'm
gave.
just
I mean,
saying.
Quincy got more than the mayor. Yeah, Quincy got that
Maybe they.
$12,000 lawnmower. Sheldon got five thousand
Nah, plus he
dollars.
got the 4,500 to help
Plus he
him.
got the 40. How
Quincy
much he
made
get?
out.
Okay, here we go. I'm glad y'all on here because I don't want to talk anymore.
What? Because I'm
call.
cutting the deal
The
with
call will start at the
Ashley
beep.
Capital.
Caller, you've been bumped in. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Tia Austin. How y'all doing this morning?
Good
Oh,
morning.
hey, you're me. I seen that on Facebook yesterday too. You're my fake page.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, I'm fucking hell here. Wow.
Oh,
But I mean, damn, y'all, shit, my folks around there done seen me, boy, never seen his ass. But
shit. Yeah.
that's the truth. That's the honest God truth. You can go down there on Lillian Street, Lillian Drive, rather. My man, get the fuck out of here. Excuse my language, y'all.
This is a Disney Channel.
One thing I just wanted to comment though. The people need to see through these smoke screens and mirrors. I think that a lot of problems that we have in our Black community is we lack education about who we truly are. And a lot of us gonna have to understand that everything that we need, it ain't gonna be at Google. It's not gonna be Google. It's not gonna be in those old ass encyclopedias.
Right.
We're gonna have to seek our elders.
Right.
And our generation, I'm a millennial, we're gonna have to reach back to the baby boomers like Uncle AC and figure out how we gonna bring this together so we can put Gen Z on the right path. Because Black Lives Matter, that's a fucking joke. I just sat here and told this boy, this is how they gonna railroad you, baby. They gonna send an upper class Black person to you that looks like money. They're gonna show you social media that is gonna make you pissed beyond words. You know how Black people have been done, and that ain't even half of it. And then they're gonna have you in the mind frame of thinking that all white people are bad, and that's not true. See, what people don't understand, they never tell us about our white allies that helped us in the civil rights movement. They never tell us about our Jewish allies that helped us during the civil rights movement. And that and they don't understand that divide and conquer. Yes, it's Willie P. Lynch, the slave letter, whatever. But the rich figured that out. Hey, if I divide these poor folks against each other, then I can keep doing what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep them distracted. And in the back, like Maurice Davis said, they down there, doing what they want to do, making shit happen. And I feel like my other comment was about these black contractors. Why can't these black contractors be as eager as Don Pfeiffer is about doing roofs? Are they above fixing their own, community and people's housing? They don't understand that money can not only profit their business, but stimulate the economy in Flint.
That's true. Well,
and it seems like to me that it's the powers that be, Whitmer's bosses, which is her daddy and them. They don't want to see Flint become independent.
That's true.
Can you imagine what they saw back in the 60s and 70s and 80s? They had no power or control or influence over Flint. You know why? People were homeowners. Yeah. You see, when you own it, you basically like, you controlling it, and that's what these rich, the people downtown, that's what they scared as hell of.
Right. You got 10 more seconds. I got the phone lines is blowing up. Wrap it up. 10 seconds, please.
Oh, go ahead. All right. Well, look, I want y'all to have a good day. And Mickey, I owe you an apology because I just lost my shit with that little boy. I couldn't help it. Cause it made me mad. You know what I'm saying? Like he just made me mad because I thought about all the times I donated to GoFundMes and different things. Right. And ever since the water crisis has started, I've donated and I've done everything that I could do.
All right. Well, thank you so much, baby. We'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. I had 6 callers call while she was talking. Go ahead and call back. I got a few more minutes. Here y'all go. Okay.
Start the call or 2 to decline. Press 1 to start the call or the call will start at the beep.
Caller, you've been bumped in. What's your name and where you calling from?
Good morning. This is Michelle Young calling from Flint, Michigan.
Hi, Miss Young.
How you doing, Miss Young?
Hello. I just want to challenge our residents tonight. I challenge y'all, maybe visuals will help. Everybody bring in a trash can that you may have purchased. Bring it in. Let them know you can purchase a trash can. But we can't be taxed more. We can't have this city at a deficit and allow them to take Flint over again. Because I'm sure that the next thing that's coming down the line.
Absolutely.
And I also ask and I plead with the residents, when you do get a chance to go and speak to council, don't go up there and complain. I know we want to complain. Go up there and ask for a certain thing that's important to you and your ward to be done. Start holding these people accountable. Mm-hmm. They're on TV. All they're talking about is the personality conflicts and what's going on, and their job is to get work done.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely.
So give them something. Ask them, why are the parks so important, but the residents' homes are not important? Right. I haven't seen anybody bring anything about the residents getting any type of money. And in order for our city to succeed and have financial balance is to get more taxes. The way you get more taxes is home ownership.
You're right.
And they're not talking about fixing anybody's home or helping anybody that may be in the process of losing their home. I would even say give them some money towards their back old taxes.
Right.
Give them some of those ARPA funds for that. But no, everything on the agenda is about a park or an organization.
Yep.
Go to the council meeting tonight and ask them for something we need as residents.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even if it's water credit again. Not no $300.
You know, they don't talk about
was.
that no more. They don't talk about the water no more. But thank you so
Yeah.
much. I got another caller on the line. Thank you so
Okay.
much for calling in. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Press 1 to start the call or 2 to decline. The call will start at the beep.
Caller, you've been bumped in. What's your name and where you calling from?
Morning, Mickey. And when did the shoot?
Hey, Mr. Shumo.
Good morning, Mr. Shoe.
I got a couple questions, and I'm gonna get on out your way.
Okay.
When you gonna have Mr. Pfeiffer back on again?
I will. Which one, Don or Dennis?
Yes, sir. Dennis.
Dennis. I will work on having Dennis on soon.
Okay, good. Because I have a question. You know, I've been hearing y'all talk about Mr. Pfeiffer,
Mm-hmm.
as if he's a ally for the residents of the city of Flint, or shall I say, for the residents of the city of Flint.
Mm-hmm.
But I have one question today, and I don't know if Mickey can remember this. Now, remember back when Eric Mays, when we had that flooding, those people's houses were flooded and their basements was full of stool and everything?
Yep, that was Liddell's ward.
Okay. Now, I remember when Mr. Mays had put it on the table. Okay, let's use some of those funds to get this water out of these people's basements and get that stuff situated. Mr. Pfeiffer ruled against that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember that too. Now I remember I remember saying he changed when that recall got over his head. Now I ain't forgot that.
But that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
See, we as people gotta understand and be smarter than what we are. When a person, like if you use Mr. Pfeiffer as a councilman, when you see that, okay, wait a minute now, shit ain't gonna go the way that I think it's gonna go or want it to go, then they try to seem all of a sudden that they for you.
Right.
See, that's the one thing, and I hate to use this phrase, that's what one thing that white folks count on, that we don't have sense. Now, all of a sudden now, it seems like Mr. Pfeiffer is for the residents, for the city of Flint, want to do for
the Great White Hope.
But do we forget what the hell, how he was acting, how he was doing down there? No, I don't forget.
I can forgive, but never forget. I said I can forgive, but never forget. It's a lesson behind it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can't stand up now and say, and I'm going to be one of those, he can't stand up before me and say, hey, I got the residents of this city's best interest. When I sit back a couple months ago and watch this man rule against people getting shit out their basement. Come on now.
All right. Okay, Mr. 10 minutes, 10 seconds to wrap up. I got one more call and then I got to turn
I'm
off.
Okay. You and Mickey have a good day. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Okay. Well, that last call I was trying to get you. Okay. Here's one last caller before we turn it over to Clack and Dr. Petroni.
The call will start at the beep.
Caller, you've been bumped in. What's your name and where you calling from?
This baby doll from Detroit. I'm a flash down for life.
Hey, baby doll.
Ain't one of them. It's a media. Hey. Listen, what I gotta say? I came to the meeting and asked for special money. Wasn't nobody there, so I guess they canceled it. I'm gonna try to show up again today.
Okay.
My mom is with these councilmen and these non-profit people. Nobody give a damn about resident at all. All they talking about giving the money to non-profit people. People in the city of Flint been hurting for years. Me, Arthur Wilson, I gotta speak up for you.
Yeah.
I have pictures. I got videos of us doing the water crisis together and pushing ourselves to action. He even got buses to go to the old Kmart on the road. I drove my car and followed him. I went to Lansing every day that Wilson said that they had a special meeting with Snyder. I even went to Snyder's office and helped out.
So all these people on Facebook talking about they passed out water. I ain't seen none of y'all folks. Because I was bringing in semi-trucks and loading up my truck and bringing up you all. And semi-truck guy was coming from all over. So a lot of you people are capping on Facebook. And a lot of y'all get mad at the social media 810 because they tell the truth and awesome. But half of you people talk all this shit on the phone, on that Facebook, but y'all not even message me. No. I'm going to destroy a whole hour and get stuck for 3 hours trying to make it there. So y'all need to quit capping. If y'all going to do something for it, help out the residents, then turn that fucking city hall out there. We're talking less capping shit and quit hating on each other. It's all the residents. Wherever you motherfuckers are.
Okay, all right. We gotta go. Okay. Baby down. Okay, baby down. We gotta go now. I love you. We talk to you later, okay? I love you more. All right. Okay, see you later. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay,
bye. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm about to turn it over to Clack. And I will see you all tonight. See you later. And Mr. Black Lives Matter is in the chat. Dewan, call in tomorrow. Let's talk about it. Here you go, Clack.
Go ahead. Nah, don't worry about it.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, you got to pull your headphone.
You are live. They are watching you. Can you hear everybody?
Can you hear them?
She's so beautiful.
Can y'all hear?
Yeah.
They nod their head.
Okay.
I don't know if Clack can. Clack, can you hear us?
I can't hear nothing.
You can't hear nothing. Can you hear now? Nope. You can't hear nothing. Oh, I got the one on. Can you hear now?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
I ain't had your headphones turned up.
Michael, can you hear us? Michael Clack, President
Yes,
Clack?
I can hear you.
Okay, great.
My bad, Clack.
We ready to go?
Yeah, took a few notes last night. But other than that, yeah, I'm ready. I'm good.
Okay. Well, let's get started, everyone. Welcome to the folks that we have today to be part of our conversation, and also to everyone who's either following us on YouTube or following us here on Facebook, people who are in the chat. Welcome to everyone. And I am so thankful to 8:10 a.m. I need to say, please share, like, subscribe, but definitely share into your groups right now so that others can tap in if they are aware. So thank you so much, 810, for making this time possible for us. I'm calling this show for now, second installment, the Deeper Grassroots Effect. And the reason why I call it that is because one of the reasons for me being around is to try to further network between some of the cities that have been most affected by a lot of state policies that are really disrupting a lot of predominantly Black cities and predominantly Black school districts. So I guess in addition to thanking 810 for this space, I want to also welcome our guests and tell you a little bit about what we'll be talking about. I'm going to mention them and also ask for some self-introductions. I mean, first of all, myself, I'm Tom Padroni, for those of you who don't know me yet. I'm a professor at Wayne State University. I've been there since 2012. I'm a teacher educator, so I prepare teachers. I also do a lot of educational research on inequity in predominantly Black cities and school districts. But in addition to that, I'm not just on the sidelines. I've long tried to make myself useful to struggles, and that's sometimes been hard, especially as a white guy, to not just feel sort of voyeuristic and just out of place. And like I got to kind of listen and learn about the context around me as a way of trying to make myself useful in some way or another. It's in this capacity that I actually have met both other people on this right now, Elnora Gavin and Michael Clack. Michael, I've just met you the last few months or so since I've been involved a little bit with Flint. Elnora Gavin is an amazing statewide activist who I first got to know in 2019, although she had already done a lot by that time. But I got to know her in the context of a fight to save Benton Harbor High School. When she introduces herself, I'm gonna ask her to also talk a little bit about that. But in terms of topic today, what I really want to do is to be able to put out there a little bit about this alliance building. Elnora Gavin has her several vehicles through which she's working to further broaden that statewide coalition. But then also do some note comparison between what is happening in Benton Harbor and what is happening in Flint schools to see the differences. And because I think there's something we can learn from each other from comparing these different contexts. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is just pass it over to you, Elnora Gavin, so you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you came to where we are right now.
I want to thank you so much, Dr. Padroni, for inviting me to this important conversation. Again, my name is Elnora Gavin. I am a former teacher, a school board trustee for Benton Harbor area schools. I chair our policy committee, and I'm also an organizer with We the People Michigan. And I came upon this work as a former teacher who was pushed out of my position. A lot of times people think that teachers just quit because of the money or this or that, but there are a lot of strategic attacks that teachers undergo that people, really are unaware of behind the scenes. I found out that my job was going to be eliminated through our local newspaper. I found out alongside my students that my job was going to be eliminated. I don't know if anybody knows Gregory Weatherspoon, but he was a state recommended superintendent at the time. And that's, he made that quote in the paper. And so, in working with so many other teachers whose jobs have been eliminated, working with so many students whose, their favorite classes were being eliminated, schools were being shut down, seeing all of that, that's where I started my journey towards really exploring what's happening and finding out that it was more intentional and not by happenstance. And eventually I met you, Dr. Padroni, and realized that it wasn't just happening to Benton Harbor, it was happening all over the state to Black school systems, and they were making sure strategically that they were blaming our Black students, our Black teachers, and our Black voters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I want to say before we, Michael Clack, I'm going to ask you too to introduce yourself, okay. Just because you are new to Elnora Gavin and, maybe a couple other people on here as well. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your connection to all this?
Well, I'm the school board president. I'm a trustee and a school board president here in Flint. Been there for a little under a year. A big learning experience. I knew that it was going to be a rough ride, but it's going to be a task. But some of the hurdles that we've had to face and try to jump over are, it seems that they never stop growing. You know what I mean? Like the mountains, the molehills steady turning to bigger mountains, and it seems like every time we get close to ending one battle, another 2 or 3 battles, or another 2 or 3 fires spark right back up. So there's a never-ending fight. Elnora, I've done my research, a little bit of research on you and your battles, and I just want to say that I appreciate your battles, Dr. Padroni. It's always love with you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Those of you that know me from Flint know that I've been here. I've been on the line. I've been on the front lines. This, I've been in education for this would be 20 years. And I've seen the school district go from being one of the top public school examples in the nation or in the world, so to speak, because I tell people, I remember being a student at Walker Elementary back when I was in the 1st grade. I remember there being a tour given by our superintendent and our building principal. There were a bunch of, I can't remember if they were I think they're from Japan, but they were touring our schools and they were getting, they were trying to see how our blueprint of how our public school system worked. and for it to go from that in the 80s to what we now have here in 2023 is a little bit more than stage speak is sad.
Yep. I mean, I remember Michael, Elnora, President Clack, and board member or trustee Gavin, when I was becoming a teacher in the late 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, in my teacher education courses, we would hear about, I mean, Flint, I didn't hear about as much, but what you're saying makes complete sense to me because I was hearing about Detroit and all the great things that were happening in Detroit public schools that other urban board members and superintendents and leaders of various different sections like special education within a district were interested in checking out to see. This was before two state takeovers of Detroit public schools, that people really looked up nationwide to what was happening in Detroit. It almost sounds crazy to say that now, but it's absolutely true. It took 2 state takeovers to destroy all of that. And what you're laying out, Michael Clack, sounds similar in many ways, that Flint also had that kind of status where it was important to the rest of the country, if not the world, in terms of what it was accomplishing. Elnora, Gavin, I know that we have something that we need to congratulate you for, which is that you were a key part of the struggle for something that just came down in the last few days. I don't know if the governor has signed off on it yet. You can tell me. But Elnora Gavin has been a very vocal fighter and supporter. If you go to her Facebook page, you can see her sort of live check-ins that she did about progress. We now have accomplished, again, Elnora was central to this. I was much more peripheral, debt forgiveness for a number of jurisdictions. Can you talk about that a little bit, Elnora?
Thank you for that, Dr. Padroni. What I'll say is this. When I was first involved in this fight, I would have never signaled debt forgiveness or debt relief as the thing that we needed to focus on. My father was the former school district attorney and city attorney, and he had been watching this thing for several years. And he told me that, the state was using the standardized testing and the the accumulating debt as a 1-2 punch. And if we were not freeing our communities from debt, we would continue this fight. And so that's when I realized, okay, you say that's what we need, that's at the root of it, that's what we're going to fight. And it took a little bit of convincing, right, of folks to understand that this is the root cause and this is what we need to fight for. And that's what we started our petition on. And then as people became educated, we ended up getting more and more people involved. We had over 12,000 signatures supporting this idea of forgiving the debt. And at the time, it seemed unbelievable. So many people did not believe. They're threatening to shut down your school. You're going to tell them not to shut down your school district, your high school, and you're going to tell them to, forgive the debt. It seemed unbelievable, but we started to realize it was happening in other districts as well. And we started not only fighting for Benton Harbor, but saying, hey, we have these other Black school districts that serve predominantly Black students. You need to forgive their debt as well. And so I've been able to work with a lot of people like you, Dr. Padroni, so a lot of community leaders. I don't want to get the naming folks, but a lot of community leaders. And then we connected with the other cities, as well. Banker Lake Thompson was a huge supporter on the Detroit side of it, calling the state legislator to fight this. And then we were we intentionally, worked towards helping a state representative, Joey Andrew, who also believed in this issue, who fought for this as well. And so it's something that is just begun. There are other school districts who were not on that list. There were 6 who did. But there are other school districts who their debt needs to be forgiven. I believe, I think Highland Park may not have had their debt forgiven yet. Not sure. I don't want to name them because I'm not exactly sure, right. But the other ones need that as well. And then we need to be working on fully funding our schools, because if you don't have money, that's where that division, that divisiveness, right, and all of those problems come from. It's not having enough money. Y'all know that in the household, when one family member doesn't have enough money, the parents are going at it. And so we need to make sure we're fully funding our schools.
Yep. So I know some of them, I don't know if I can name all 6 either, but we got Benton Harbor, we got Inkster, which has been without a school district for 10 years. Their district was dissolved, but they were still paying debt. What
Buena
are
Vista.
some of the other ones? We had Ypsilanti, right?
Buena Vista was one.
I don't know. They already had
Buena
their
Vista
debt
one?
paid off. They already had their
Okay.
debt paid off.
I'm going to
Muskegon
find that
Heights.
list for you. Here it is. So we have Pontiac City School District, Benton Harbor Area Schools, Ypsilanti Community Schools, Muskegon Heights School District, Inkster Schools, and it says former Willow Run Community Schools.
Which
Oh,
is now
wow.
joined
Okay.
with Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this is obviously a big moment for those districts, and hopefully more moments will come from other districts. But you said something really important now, Nora Gavin, that I want to kind of pivot the conversation to a little bit more, which is, I think from my perspective as an educational researcher and advocate, you really named it when you talked about that 1-2 punch. And that 1-2 punch was the financial circumstances of a district and its supposed educational performance, right? And so for me, what I'm always thinking about is, and I know you are too, and probably others who are listening are as well, is, it's kind of like, well, how is it that these districts get into this financial mess? And why are their scores often persistently so low? What are the situations? What are the causes of that in the first place? And having said that, we know that once that happens, once a district is seen to be underwater financially, or it's seen to be not performing as well as others believe it should be based on a problematic metric like test scores, that becomes a rationale for the state to come in and do dramatic things. And so in this coalition that Elnora and I and others are building, we have, I'll just mention some of the districts, and I'll probably forget some. If I do, please jump in, Elnora. But we have people in our coalition who are from Inkster. And as I mentioned, based on their financial status, the state came in, passed 2 laws specifically targeting Inkster and Buena Vista, the one that President Clack mentioned, to dissolve them in their entirety. And they did so very quickly. There was really no option for any kind of city input. It was like there today, gone tomorrow. They were wiped off of the map entirely. Then you had 2 districts like Muskegon Heights, which got some of the debt forgiveness, in Highland Park, which is not yet, I think, that were fully charterized. They were put in emergency management. The emergency manager handed them over to for-profit charter school companies, charter school managers, educational management organizations, they call them. And, I remember it making national news. Muskegon Heights the emergency manager ended up selling off the playground equipment for the elementary kids to make ends meet. What does that say about our valuing of our children? In Highland Park, the company that was running the charters there shut down the high school because the high school wasn't profitable enough. I mean, we know that the charter sector almost always goes into K-8, especially the for-profit one, because it's less expensive to educate K-8. Therefore, there's more profit and there's more money for consultants and for administration and so on. So they just closed the high school in Highland Park and said, well, you guys can go to high school elsewhere. And, people got petitioned all over the city. We had Albion. Albion is our network. Albion was in bad financial constraints, as was a nearby predominantly white district called Marshall. And Marshall annexed Albion. And that, did a lot for solving Marshall's financial problems, because now they got this influx of new students at 8,500, 9,000 a pop. And not surprisingly, in the first year after that merger, one of the elementary schools suspended 14 Black boys in kindergarten on the same day. So you do the math on that one and think about what's going on. In Inkster, when they shut that down, the children got divided up into 4 surrounding, all of them predominantly white districts. And again, then students were, taking longer rides to districts that oftentimes treated them as if they weren't wanted, as if they didn't measure up, as if they weren't supposed to be there. They were trespassing. A lot of people left those districts and went to charters as well. In all, a mess for where children ultimately are the biggest victims. I could name a lot of other jurisdictions too. We talked about Ypsilanti, we talked about Willow Run. One of the things that, again, that connected up me and Elnora was in 2019 when Benton Harbor Schools, which already had a state-appointed manager, I can't remember what his official title was, but
CEO,
yes,
like a corporation,
like
a business, yeah.
Yep. The governor Gretchen Whitmer, who had spent her campaign saying a lot of really praiseworthy things, like, we're going to repeal the emergency manager law. We're going to respect local elected Black governance rather than sweeping away the elected board, as it happened in Detroit and Muskegon Heights and in Buena Vista. We're going to respect local Black power. Well, as soon we're going to support the plaintiffs in the Detroit literacy lawsuit that was ongoing at that time. Well, I think those of us who follow Democratic politics, and I voted for Joe Biden, I voted for Gretchen Whitmer, full confession. We know that those promises that are made to get elected are oftentimes forgotten the day that the results come in.
Exactly.
Right? And so Governor Whitmer became fixated for reasons that we still don't fully understand, although we can, we have some ideas, and I'll let maybe Elnora speak to that. The governor became fixated on closing Benton Harbor High School. And I can only imagine that the calculus in her mind was something like, that's only 10,000 people. Yeah, they might have all voted for me, but 10,000 votes, come on. It was, she was obviously appeasing someone when she went after wanting to close Benton Harbor High School. And she didn't know what was going to happen in response. And I want to give away the plot by saying in the end that we won and Benton Harbor High School is still there. It doesn't mean that the school is in perfect shape. A lot of the same dynamics that led it into this position are still there. And we can talk about those more fully, our thoughts about those more fully later. But can you kind of just talk us a little bit through that episode, Elnora? I know there's ongoing stuff now, but how that kind of evolved in 2019 and how it ended up. And one of the things I want to do when you're done is I want to share this amazing video that was done by students in Benton Harbor. I sent you the link to that, Mickey, so that we can see the victory that students really helped anchor and promote. But could you take us through a little bit of that history?
Absolutely. And what I want to thank you for mentioning, that Governor Whitmer said that she would listen to the Black leadership in Benton Harbor and the school boards. And I want to highlight a very important distinction that I didn't realize the first time that I got on the school board. This is my second round here, second time joining, is that, when it comes to this privatization of publicly owned schools, there is an alliance from the federal government, state government, and yes, local school boards, local city officials, local organizations who do support privatization tactics, dismantling of our own publicly owned schools. And a lot of times those people look like us. Mm-hmm. And so a governor or president or anybody can point to, those people in your own community who will sell you out. And so we have to be very clear about that. There are corporate politicians on every level who will sell out these children.
And so knows that too.
Yeah.
It's been going on here for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll shock you. The first time I was shocked. I didn't understand. I didn't think that was possible. Very naive in the game. So, fast forward, this fight to take over. And I believe that, I don't know Governor Whitmer personally, but I do believe that there are some mixed messages that comes out of my community. And I have to admit that and be very true in that. And so when that happened, this is not a win in which you can point to any one person. This was a community-centered win. There was a lot of behind the scenes things. I was working with a particular board member, Pat Rush, who had contacted you, Dr. Padroni. I believe that's how we met. And she told me some things that was going on, told me about this threat that was to shut down the schools from Whitmer, and asked for some advice and some guidance on that. And we kind of collaborated and talked about how there needs to be a town hall, things of that nature. And it needs to be student-centered. Our students had already presented an argument to the school board in May of that year, asking the school board to pass a resolution being clear that they would not shut down our schools. Now, there were some school board members who behind the scenes probably were working towards shutting down the schools. But when the students, are speaking out and saying, listen, we want our education, we need you to stand with us on that. And they delivered some powerful, stories. There was one young man who was, who in tears told us in the church basement while we were doing strategy, he was in tears saying that, they've been threatening to shut down my school every year since I was 9 years old.
Yep.
And I felt like nobody cared. And to finally see people stepping in and fighting with us, like those were tears of joy.
Yeah.
Because these kids feel like they're alone. And so, it was a lot of organizing around people saying, we care about our schools. You're not going to call us failures. Alumni started doing, Facebook posts sharing their success and that they are Benton Harbor Tigers, and then there was a busload of people from the other communities outside of Benton Harbor. I don't know if you led that bus, Dr. Padroni, was that your bus? There were people from outside.
That was Mother Helen Moore and National Action Network that came. I mean, of course, I knew of them, but I worked with them.
I want to give them thanks because I don't know them, but I'm grateful to them. It was the unity, people from Detroit and all over from the east side came and said, hey, we support Benton Harbor, high school. You're not going to close these schools. This is what happened to us. And, it was just amazing. It's the unity of it that, helped us keep our high school. It definitely was not, one person.
Yeah, I mean, so we already had this very strong nucleus of people who were fighting back in Benton Harbor. One of our thoughts was, well, they had that in Inkster too in 2013, but no one joined with Inkster. We were all kind of like, okay, well, they must know what they're doing if they're closing down this district, some of us. And so Inkster was fighting on its own, basically. And, they weren't able to save the district. It's gone. However, one of the people that I'd like to have on this show relatively soon is Ms. Dee Richardson, who just was elected to Inkster Council last night. Congratulations to her. I woke her up at 3 a.m. to tell her that she'd won because she hadn't been aware yet, and I figured she needed to know. But she came to some of the organizations that were doing work in Detroit and said, you think you have a bad here on emergency management? Listen what happened in Inkster. We had the district taken away in its entirety, and that what might be what's next for you, so watch out. So eventually we started to think, well, we really got to connect up with communities like Inkster and others across the state. Someone from Albion, and I don't mind mentioning names, I'm sure they'd be proud. Sonia Brown from Albion reached out to Mrs. Dee Richardson to say, hey, love the work that you did and you are doing in Inkster. And we just started to connect up with all of these different, we had people from Highland Park, Muskegon Heights, Buena Vista, all of these communities. And representatives from all those communities, along with the 2 buses from Detroit, also came to join the activists in Benton Harbor who were fighting. And they each spoke. The representatives from the different communities each came up and spoke to the reality to say, Benton Harbor, first of all, you're not alone in this. They did this to us too. And here is what could happen to you. This is where it goes from here. Your fears are probably correct in that this is one step to the complete dissolution of the district. And what this did, in my view, is that it made it so that whenever Gretchen Whitmer, people were upset about it in Detroit, all over the state. So now for Gretchen Whitmer, she has a problem that it's not just 10,000 people that she's alienating in Benton Harbor. She would go wherever she went out across the state, she'd be hearing from Black folks mainly saying, what are you doing? What are you doing in Benton Harbor? Why are you picking on that one high school? And especially when the Black political class in Detroit got upset about it, started to talk at a national level with NAACP and other national civil rights organizations. And they started to say, now, wait a minute, doesn't this Gretchen Whitmer have national ambitions for vice president or president? What does she think she's doing here? And that was what we had done, I believe, is we had really raised the cost for her politically, because we didn't feel like we were going to get her on moral and ethical arguments. And I'm sorry to Whitmer.
If it was a moral and ethical argument, it never would have happened. You don't shut down any educational facility
That's
You
right.
just don't do it.
Of course.
That's right. And I think it's that pressure is what finally got her to back down, not to put into place things that stopped what produced that moment, that creates the fires in many urban districts, especially predominantly Black urban school districts across the state. And we'll get to that later. And that's where I'm going to really want to draw on you, Michael Clack, in that discussion too, as we compare notes between Benton Harbor and Flint. But what I want to do now is I would love it, Mickey, if you could pull up that link that I sent you of the video of that Benton Harbor students put together that really, I feel, anchored the struggle. And Elnora, were you involved in that video effort as well?
So yes, there was a young lady named Tracy Burton who worked to help kind of produce the video with someone else who was really great at what he does. Yeah. Sorry, I can't remember his name. But these are teachers in this video. One of the teachers led the walkout. One of the teachers, Ms. Golden, is the one who lectured the students and helped prepare them for their presentations before the board. So these are students, teachers. Another student wrote this. Another teacher wrote this. So this is completely no actors in this, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And make it as full screen as you can, Mickey. This is. I want people to be inspired by this.
Oh, and one more thing. There's a picture of me signing the petition for the debt forgiveness in there, which I thought was really powerful to include the action, embed that in the culture creation.
So it's kind of full circle now, because just last week we had this victory that for the debt forgiveness that's called for in this video. Okay, thanks, Mickey.
Tell my city we gon' make it, bitch, education. I told my city we gon' make it, bitch, education.
I know you're gonna be alright. We're gonna stand tall for our rights. We can do anything. We can do anything. You gotta get up and put your hands in the air. You gotta get up and put your hands in the air. Say I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe.
Tell my city we gon' make it, cause nobody will. Just be myself, don't smoke, don't drink, and I don't pop a pill. Stepped in the back so many times, I don't know how to feel. Just set examples for the youngest in the battlefield. Tell my city we gon' make it, this our inspiration. And all we need is dedication with that education. My city's striving for greatness, but we losing patience. Cause every time we see the news, all we the conversation. They always saying something bad and not congratulations. I guess they think we stupid, they think that we ruthless. We can make it out the trenches, I know we can do it. Yeah, I'm talking, walk the feeling, have them looking clueless. Chase your dreams, and when you find them, make sure you pursue it. When you finally find your passion, it ain't nothing to it. Gaining hope is the key, make sure you don't lose it. Gaining hope is the key, make sure you don't lose it.
You gotta get up and put your hands in the air. You gotta get up and put your hands in the air. Say I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe.
Gotta focus, gotta get it in. This a real world, this is not pretend. Gotta move forward, even though there's haters. Get your education now and get your money later. Gotta get it, ain't no hesitation. Cause when it comes to life, I ain't got no patience. I be moving fast like the speed racer. Like an essay, I'm surrounded by paper. Staying in school even though it's hard. Cause it's hard to ever finish if you never start. Even if I never ever make it, I know I got my education. To my city we gon' make it, bitch, education. To my city we gon' make it, bitch, education. To my city we gon' make it, bitch, education.
You gotta get up and put your hands in the air. You gotta get up and put your hands in the air. Say I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. demons are knocking. Our city is burning and we have no options. They do not care about our city. They do not show us no love. They just put us in their pockets. To the world we do the most of them. To the world we is to go sit them. But I'ma make sure they hear my words. Y'all I'ma make sure they hear my verse. Cause we gon' blow up and fly like a bird. I'ma blow up and fly like a bird. You cannot take me up out of my city. Move me, try me. 269 got the animals behind me. Cause honestly, you should be part of the movement. We make moves. We say goals. We gon' go far. Just watch how it goes. Cause I'ma watch you on the sideline. While we shine, you had the light. Now the lights on mine. It's too bad cause we in control now. Education is a goal now. Cause we gon' be valedictorians. Cause we victorious. Yeah, we gon' be valedictorian. Cause we victorious. We're gonna be alright. We understand tall for our rights. We can do anything. We can do anything. Yeah, we can do anything. Get up and put your hands in the air. You gotta get up and put your hands in the air. Say I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe.
I still get I get tears in my eyes whenever I watch that. I showed that recently to my future teachers in my class just a few weeks ago, and I had to kind of turn away because I just start crying, honestly, because I'm so touched by it. I'm so touched by their spirit of just love for school, resistance, knowing what matters, knowing how to stand up. I'm just blown away by it.
Yes, and I have to give the rappers their credit. They wrote their own lines. So
I was just gonna ask, did they did all of that? That's talent, yeah.
You want to put their names out there, Elnora?
I can't put the names out there, but it's on there.
It's on there. We saw it. Yeah.
I don't want to mess up the stage name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel it's just so powerful because it gets to the very basis, right? This is about kids. It's about their relationships to teachers and schools, what it means to them. So, Elnora, what it meant to them is not what it meant to Gretchen Whitmer, certainly initially. What are your thoughts on what did it mean to Gretchen Whitmer? Why was she at that point? And I don't mean to put full guns on her, but we're talking about a particular moment. At that moment, tell us a little bit about like where the school's situated and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's challenging because we need Gretchen to go ahead and sign this thing, right?
So we're not there yet. Okay, we'll play real nice right now. She hasn't signed it yet?
No, it's not signed yet. We're not there yet. But I have to say, I think it's important for people to ask Gretchen Whitmer what it means to her. I don't think, I had this thing in my class that used to drive my students crazy mad at me, but it was called Make It Right. When you did something that caused harm to somebody in that classroom or you caused harm to the environment of the classroom, you had to identify what you did, identify, what agreements we had, as a community, and then you had to tell how you were going to make it right. And I think that as a community, we've been so oppressed that as soon as, the knee is off our neck, we're so happy about it that we don't say, hey, how are you going to make this right with us? How are you going to acknowledge the harm that you caused? And I think that it's important, even for her healing as a human being, to identify, what did you, when you made that decision and she didn't make it, Republicans before her, Democrats before her have been shutting our schools down. Right. And so I think, and I don't want to preach here, but, it's important for us as a community to start looking to those people in leadership and saying, how are you going to acknowledge what you did, right? And then how are you going to make it right, fully bringing these communities back whole? If school districts were decimated, how do you fully get those school districts back to where they belong? And that's where I would say that to her or anybody who took part in this child abuse, because that's what it is.
That's right.
This child abuse, this massive child abuse that happened to our kids across this city,
right.
this state.
That's right.
And nation, probably. If we were to do some research, chances are it's happening, you know.
Absolutely. National. And I think you know, there are both pieces there, which is where I want to steer, you know, I'd love to steer the conversation now. One is that question of, you know, how were those kids in the way from some people's perspective? Because that's going to connect us to Flint, I believe, as well. And the second is, what are the things that are still in place that we would, you know, that you would bring up with Whitmer, you know, in terms of solving this problem, so that, you know, yeah, we're you know, that we put out that fire, but are students now able to get the liberatory, loving education that makes them delight in knowledge and use knowledge as a means to develop their God-given gifts, to struggle for a community that has been oppressed, and to build a visionary example of education. You know, we know they're not there yet. Absolutely. So on the first piece, I'm sorry, I cut you off. You want to say something?
No, I would say absolutely not. Our kids are not there yet. Our school district is not there yet. When you have people that hold so much power, you know, call you failures, call you this, call you that, like, there's a lasting impact, you know, on a community, even to be able to attract students in this charter driven, you know, society and school of choice era. And so, like, no. And when you talk about specific things that were in place, even before Governor Whitmer, when the emergency manager came in, he took away our school zones, those school protections, those land protections, and turned them into residential zones, which made us very vulnerable for corporate vultures to turn our school districts into apartments. So watch out for those type of strategies, right? You know, the zoning strategies. And so, you know, when you look at what happens to a child when they take a trades class, they're about to get licensed for that class, they put in all the hours, and then the class is shut down right before they get the license in that particular area. A lot of those types of things happen. So, you know, as far as making these schools whole, there has to be a study, and I don't mean just a study of what happened, but a study of what happened, and then there needs to be an assessment of the damage. X amount of millions of dollars, you know, in damage happened, and then there needs to be a promise of reparations and repair to fully restore them. Yeah. That's how you do that thing. And then it's not, don't ever say you don't have enough money for education, because it's an investment. That's an investment. If you invest in your teachers and your children, that creativity and the innovations, and, you know, that's stimulating your economy, and that money comes right back into your state. If you don't understand that people leave the state because of education, then you're not understanding how to grow your state. And if you don't understand that our children are creative and amazing, and when you invest in them, what's possible, then you're making a huge mistake.
Yeah. So I love so much of what you laid out. First of all, we need a truth and reconciliation process, right?
Absolutely.
What they had in South Africa, and one that includes some sort of restorative justice or reparations as well. And I'm gonna first mention some of the I'll put it out there that some of the questions that were raised by activists at the time were like, okay, well, first of all, Benton Harbor implies something. It's by the lake.
I'm sorry. It's the development. You know, that's what they want. They want our land. This is nothing more than a land grab. I would guess that a lot of these Black school districts are, you know, along some type of body of water, you know. And I was we were in a meeting, me and Gwen Johnson. Somehow we ended up in this meeting with all of these fishermen, if you will. We were the only Black women there and the only Black faces there. They didn't expect us to be there. They were going over this development plan. Yeah. And what they said was, you can drive anywhere, right? You can bike anywhere, but water is where it is. Yes. And so you understand what I'm saying? And so, you know, they want the land. They want to turn our schools into these big, expensive condominiums, and they want a completely different demographic here. And we looked at the plans to build a $100 million prison on Napier, but those plans had no schools on them whatsoever. So this was premeditated murder of our educational system.
Yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to highlight was, in my view, in my research, it's always a struggle for the land, first of all. And I think we could probably talk about that, and we will in a moment, in relationship to Flint. Benton Harbor High School is on the bluffs high above the shore. And, that's really valuable land. Amazing that you said it was already rezoned for apartments, and there's sort of a
2012.
sentiment of, well, those
Secretly
developers
rezoned.
they don't want those kids up there close to their development. There's just something wrong with that picture from a developer's standpoint. So that's one thing to center, I always want to center that struggle for the land, which I think, and for the vision of the city, who this is for. Every other community along the lake there is predominantly white. And you got this one here, Benton Harbor. Well, what's wrong with this picture from the perspective of developers? And then the things that are underlying. So here's where I want to really begin to bring in Flint. And I'm rushing a little bit only because I got my eye on the time and it's 10:48. We got 12 minutes left to go. And I want to make sure we hit some of the most important points. We've hit them, but we're going to keep hitting them. So, one of the reasons that we know that there was financial turmoil in Benton Harbor schools is, well, first of all, there had been some people from the state who also had a hand in creating that financial turmoil. But we also know that the district lost a lot of students to surrounding districts. At first, I thought it was mainly charters. Some were lost to charters in Benton Harbor, but it's mainly the surrounding school districts who benefited the most from students who were fleeing Benton Harbor. And I want to think of it as—
may I please? I have to make a very important distinction here,
Okay.
because this is why this happened.
Yeah.
When you have a flawed measuring tool, and the standardized tests have been proven by the National Education Association to be racially biased.
Yes, they have.
And so that's a flawed test. They use those type of standardized tests to smack a label on these schools and call them failing schools. Failing schools. There's no such thing as a failing school. There are failing policies, right? There are failed policies. There are failing grades, but there's no failing school. And so when you tap that type of branding on a school, then parents say, oh my gosh, I'm at a failing school. No matter how great things are going on, oh my gosh, I'm at a failing school. I care about my child, so I need to move them away. They're duping you out of your own land, out of your own resource.
That's right.
I just want to make that distinction with the branding that they tricked us on that one.
Absolutely. And let me make it really clear from the perspective of a researcher. Not only have those tests been proven to be racist, culturally biased, and socioeconomically biased, but also we now know, we've known this for over 10 years, that the standardized tests absolutely do not tell us anything about the performance of a district, about the performance of the administrators, of the students, of the teachers, of the teachers, of the family, of the school board. That what they are, they're an invalid measure for what they claim that they measure. What they really are is they are a reflection or a mirror of socioeconomic status and cultural attainment or educational attainment of the parents. Basically meaning that if you take, and we've done this, if you take, if you look at the census, where do poor people live? Where do wealthy people live? Where do middle income people live? And you map over that, where the test scores are low or high, it maps almost 100% onto that. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't exceptions. There are exceptions, of course. But, one of the main things that is driving low test scores, well, there are a number of factors, but one is childhood poverty. It's the sin of our nation. Nations that have gotten rid of childhood poverty or have it really low, like Finland at 4%, and they view that as a sin and too high. They're trying to get it even lower. They are always at the top of the charts internationally when you do educational comparisons. So what we do as a society is we take those inequalities, which are what produces the test scores, and we say that they're a measure of the school that's failing.
May I add one more quick thing? Because I think this is a thing that most people don't know that they need to know. Policy-wise, this is also a time when teachers get pink slipped, meaning they are notified that their job is no longer there. So during that standardized testing season, you have teachers and administrators who have been notified that they won't have their job. We had consent agreements in place that were forcing the district to get rid of 25 to 50% of their staff at once. When I was teaching there, I literally, during final exam time and testing time, I literally had to perform a portfolio and re-interview for my job.
For your job.
Right. And so, and when we were threatened to shut down, that was right around final exam time, right around those testing times. So like, if they could distract you, they can destroy you. And so like, those are some other behind the scenes things that happen that contribute to this false narrative that our children and our schools are failures.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter to people in Lansing and the MDE. And I know because I've testified on this directly to the people who are, you know, the decision makers there, that in 2015, the American Statistical Association said, stop using test scores to make high stakes decisions like whether teachers are effective or ineffective and letting them go. And they said the reason for that is that what really impacts test scores is background circumstances over which teachers have relatively little control. And I could do a whole show on that. I'm not, because I want to get to some other stuff, but just to, you know, get at the what you said, Eleanor Gavin, is just so true about it mislabels schools as failing. Think about what the psychic damage that does to kids who want to always make their teacher happy. You know, they know the teacher is saying this is important. We got to get these test scores up. And then the students who are brilliant, wonderful, genius, creative, full of God's gifts, are told over and over again, you wanted to make your teacher happy? You failed. You failed. You failed. You failed. What does that do? That destroys a child. I want to steer us to, we needed 2 hours for this. I wanted to steer us to Michael Clack, President Clack. And I guess I want to start with this. One of the main things that happened in Benton Harbor was the declining enrollment, where parents believed that. And you also had other districts and charters that were like, well, we really want you to come here. And parents had this belief that if they went there, everything would be better for them, right? And this, of course, caused the spiral that destroys predominantly Black school districts. Michael Clack, I looked at your enrollment numbers, and you guys have done a good job in the last year, apparently, of kind of buoying up. You know, you didn't have, it doesn't seem like you had a loss going into this year, but you did have a massive loss over a number of years. So could you kind of like talk about what that looks like in Flint, and maybe even just react to some of what you've heard from Ms. Gavin about how does this picture fit or not fit Flint, including the dimensions about land, maybe?
Well, especially the land part. When you guys started speaking on that, I'm like, wow, that's not just Flint. You know what I mean? I didn't realize how it's just not us. We're so localized, and we don't really get a chance to see because we're blindsided by all the different, you know, smoke and mirrors and everything that's going on in our own area, that we don't even get a chance to expand out into the rest of the, you know, the country to see that we're not the only one. There are other districts and other municipalities that are going through the same exact thing, and it's not just us. But the biggest thing that I think contributed, you know, or what that started to the contribution of our school district declining was the school of choice. The school of choice that was implemented back in the mid 90s. I think that, you know, as far as being a Flint resident, it was something like I don't want to say a badge of honor, but it was looked upon like you're going to a county school, a Grand Blanc or a Carmen Ainsworth or a Powers or a Davison. It's looked upon as, oh, you're moving up. You're getting out of Flint. You're going to get a better education. You're going to have, you know, better facilities. You're going to have, you know, support. You're going to have unlimited resources. Whereas if you were stuck in Flint, you knew that if you played football that you were going to probably have to share a helmet, or if you weren't going to have adequate books, or you weren't going to have, you know, the same amount of support and resources that you would get if you went to the county schools, the perception of which. So I think that in the beginning, that I think it was 94 is when the School of Choice Act, you know, went into effect. And that was that was the first thing. And then right after that is when the charter schools started showing up, you know, well, not right after, but not too long afterwards. And Flint just seemed like it was just a cesspool of charter schools. Like everybody, if you want to start a school, come on to Flint. And that's the same as how it goes. If you want to, you know, how the saying is, if you want to become a millionaire, come into Flint. We'll make you a millionaire, and you don't have to spend any money. You don't have to have a community agreement, you know, benefits agreement. You don't have to do anything for the community or the schools or the children or the residents. You come here, you make your money, you leave. You know, and that's what it's so. I had to grab my pen. I was taking notes because, you know, it's like it's not just Flint. It is not just Flint. We're not on the biggest body of water, but you know, we do have the Flint River. and we're not from, go ahead, Dr. P.
Just, and you have Carriagetown, you have the older buildings, and that's the thing is that people want those. Developers want to make money out of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So I also I did a little bit of research, which I keep these numbers and I would have these up in my classroom, that the United States is not even in the top 10 when it comes to education internationally. You know what I mean? When it comes to math and when it comes to science. And Dr. P, you specifically mentioned Finland, who is top 5 or top 4 in science, consistently every year. The other countries that are ranked in the top 5 are all in Asia. You know what I mean? Like it's Japan and Taiwan and all those schools that we all just assume that they're going to be a top 10, but it's a scientific fact that they test higher than our kids. And you've both pointed out the fact that there's an assault on the public school sector nationally. You know what I mean? They don't have the attention is not on the public schools here in the United States as it is, around the world in different places. It's like, if you can't afford to send your child to a school that's going to get you certified teachers in every classroom and teachers that, have different accolades and resources to be offered to the students, then it's just like, all right, well, y'all just fall by the wayside,
Yep. And that's the other key, is that we don't fund school districts relative to their needs, even though the state has conducted numerous studies called adequacy studies that lay out, look, if you want to have schools on an equitable footing, then districts that have a higher proportion of free and reduced lunch, higher proportion of special education designation, higher proportion of English language learners, you've got to fund them in relationship to that. So what that does is, since that's not funded, that is not how we're funding schools, you have this huge gap between what you should be for equity and what you actually are. And that shortfall, that budget shortfall, puts a hole in budgets that leads to the cutting of programs and leads to all of those things that further the decline of an inner city or an urban core district, just like the ones that we're talking about. It's 11. I want to thank you both for being here today. I feel like we didn't even get to the comments and to calls. We could have gone for so much longer.
We can have a part 3, right? This is part 2.
5 hours. What were you going to say, Mike?
You can have a part 3, right? This is part 2, correct?
Yeah, really. Yeah, we should do something like that. And I'm so thankful to both of you, Eleanor Gavin, for joining us today, to Michael Clack, to greatest engineer and producer in the world, Mickey. Final words. I'll leave it to Eleonora and to Michael Clack, and then we'll say goodbye to folks until next week.
Thank you again so much, Dr. Padroni. I'm so glad for the opportunity to meet you, Mr. Clack. I'm super excited, and I'm hoping that this is an alliance, that it's not just a one-time meeting. I'm going to put this website out there, freshstart.org. If, we believe in Fresh Start for schools, not just Ben Harbor schools, but all of these schools that are impacted, and we have to organize and come together on that. So please take a look at that. I'll just say this. It is time for reparations and restorations of our public schools, period. Let's just focus on what is it going to take to restore these schools back to where they need to be, and how can we come together and make sure that it happens for our kids and our community. Schools have 100% of the answers to your community solutions if you understand how they work.
Beautiful. Michael Clack, final words?
Well, I wanted to ask Ms. Gavin, was it, before we close out, did Flint get, was it 300,000? Was that what the allocation was for Flint?
I'm not sure, but I could find out and get.
Okay, I think that's what I read, but if that's fine.
I can find out.
Okay. I applaud you for that. For the work that you're doing. Ms. Gavin, you, and especially Dr. Padroni, next time, send me an email. I'll be down. I'm down to go with you. I'm down for the fight. And I don't really have a lot to say. The only thing I have to say is I'm gonna end with the quote that my dad always used to tell me: "If not now, when? And if not you, who?" That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mickey.
All right, no problem. And nice. And we can set this up again too, because I see Sister Muhammad said she asked give you Wednesday 2 hours. So whenever y'all want to put it together, we can put it together because this was great info.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all.
All right, peace.
Peace. Bye.